Hello to episode 100 of Flow with the Grow podcast. If this is your first time joining, first, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. And on episode 100, my name is Sophia, or I go by Sophie, the host of this show. And just the other day, I was kind of reflecting on the past 100 episodes, and I kind of came to a realization. And by the way, stay tuned because there's going to be a giveaway for episode 100. This is going to start Monday, April 25th, and I'm going to explain those details here in a little bit. And let me just tell you, it is a pretty epic giveaway. I not only am giving stuff away myself, like I have in the past, I probably do this like once a year, but I reached out to all of my guests to see who would be willing or who would want to just kind of collab in on this, like who would want to throw something in for this giveaway to kind of celebrate these 100 episodes, and also for me to celebrate them and their business, their success, and support them. So I do have quite a few of the guests who are going to be putting something into this giveaway, and again, it is epic. So stay tuned for that. But first, that realization. And that's that I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about podcasting. Definitely don't know it all. And I'm not like the top ranked. I don't make like a lot of income from this right now. It's a goal to monetize, yes, but I've learned a lot about myself. And I realized that although I have loved talking into the mic, just myself, and sharing my journey, things I've overcome, tips to help you live healthier, whether it's the physical aspect or the mental aspect, I have really, really, really come to love having guests on the show. Like, what an honor. I have met some freaking cool, phenomenal, smart humans. And what a joy it has been to have them on, sharing their journey, their challenges that they've overcome, things that they have learned, tips to help you in your journey, their expertise, things that I normally would only maybe have heard on other podcasts, but like it's so cool to be the one having a conversation with them. It's been so cool bringing in different people from different walks of life and different areas of health. The women's health space, so talking about hormones and our cycles, to mindset coach and a life coach and nutrition, as well as the spiritual side of it. And we're like kind of just now diving more into that. So I'm super excited because we have some awesome couple of guests coming on for that spiritual wellness. But just this last one, 99, was spirit guides and intuition. And so there's a lot more to come in that area of health and wellness. I've had, someone on, Joe, who is he's really relatable. He's like a friend, and he is someone who is just like an everyday, guy, and he has his own struggle with like the fact that he is going blind, and just very inspiring. We've had Rachel on, who creates the programming for Anytime Fitness, who also does trauma-informed weightlifting stuff, who also has this very eye-opening and refreshing perspective on like inner work, like within our nervous system, and also spiritual wellness and just becoming present and so many things. I've had on Alexa, who has talked about how important mindset is and the thoughts that we are telling ourselves, not only our thoughts, but the stories that we're telling ourselves, the limiting beliefs. Phil, who is all about being an advocate for not just mental health, but men's mental health. I've had another expert on talk about health and how to start successfully. And Alicia, who's all in the bodybuilding world, and talk about macros and how important it is to eat more and how important rest days are, and so much more with that episode. And then Keysa, who's on talking about cravings and how to overcome losing your cravings, but how to not just lose your cravings, but how to live a better quality of life because of that. And then, of course, my twin sister and my girlfriend, Kiana. So like just everyday real people, just conversations and like-minded people who are, and I also just thought of this too, Sandy, who is a functional movement specialist, I believe is her title, and the importance of moving your body in order to heal your body. So all of these people who they have their own area of expertise, but we're all very like-minded. I'm very like-minded to them. And my goal is not only for me to share, but my goal has also been to bring on guests to speak into their expertise and their journey in order to help you and kind of also bring you new perspectives. Again, not just from what I share and shifting that perspective, all about being optimistic and the value in being optimistic, but perspectives from other people. So really, it's more than just a health and wellness podcast, but it's just everyday conversations and even with entrepreneurship and the importance of brain health, right? So like even the name Flow with the Grow has kind of evolved over time. Like at first it was, okay, I want this to be health and fitness, and not just that, but how I have grown and how I can help you grow through my stories and helping you realize that there is joy in all of it. There is joy in the highs, yes, but there is joy in the lows if you are open to that and willing to find the joy and find those opportunities and those learning lessons. And Flow with the Grow has a different meaning to everyone. I always ask my guests what comes to mind when you hear and think of Flow with the Grow, which by the way, Hannah, if you're listening, which I don't know if you will be, but I forgot to ask her what it means. Also, I think I forgot to ask Kiana. I should do that. Anyways, it is a different meaning to every person. It's so cool to hear everyone's perspective on that and what it means to them. So I challenge you to think about that. What does it mean to you to flow with the grow? To me, it is like, and I know people have said this, but it is like water. Like we're flowing with the challenges of life, the highs and the lows, and that is growth. Growth comes from that. Although we might not see it in that moment, maybe, water flows and then it hits rocks and then maybe there's a waterfall and then maybe it's just rapids and going so fast and then calm and peaceful. It just flows with it, and growth can come from all of that. So big thank you to you if you're listening currently, and if you have been listening, whether it's been one episode, 5 episodes, or all 100 episodes. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. It's been really cool I haven't been hung up on the statistics of the show, but it's been really cool to see the slow growth over the past almost 2 years now. So I appreciate you. And I hope that just at least one episode has resonated and has helped you in some way. And I'm confident that at least one person it has. In today's episode, I want to briefly talk to you about awareness. I have talked on the show a lot about becoming aware, like pretty much anything, whether it is changing our thought patterns, our perspective on things, or maybe it's within working out or within the way that we eat or the yo-yo dieting aspect. Like I always say, step 1 is awareness. I think every single time, step 1 has been awareness. But what does that actually mean? How do you actually become aware of something? Because I kind of realized today, and I'm going to talk about where I heard this from and where the realization came in here in a moment, but I realized that maybe not everyone knows how to become aware of something, or especially like in today's example that I'm going to share, cravings. How do you become aware of something that is maybe so automatic, it's subconscious, you're maybe not even thinking about it. Like you don't realize that you're eating something or that you don't really know where the craving has come from. But when you become aware, then you can make the changes, right? But like how, if you're not really knowing, if it's subconscious, you're not really knowing what or how to change it or like what to do, how do you go about then knowing what awareness is and how to become aware? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But first, I want to talk about today's sponsor and partnership with Athletic Greens. Now, a greens supplement does not replace or is not a substitute for your whole food vegetables and greens. But this does fill in the gaps, and it is the next best thing if you are lacking in those nutrients. If you've been listening, you have heard this before. I first started taking Athletic Greens because I wanted to experiment with different green supplements, and I'd been kind of trying some in the past. And I was also learning more about gut health and what the benefits potentially could be from having a greens powder, especially knowing that I don't eat enough vegetables or greens. I know I don't. So it's been awesome to find one that is packed full with nutrient dense stuff, and it actually tastes good. I love to have it in the morning times, usually on an empty stomach and either before or after my early morning workout. I like to have it with coconut water. I think it kind of brings in an additional taste, and it doesn't taste like coconuts. For anyone who doesn't like coconuts, because I don't really like coconut flavor, but coconut water, no, that's bomb. And I also love it with oat milk. You can use any nut milk, but it also tastes really good that way. So what is this stuff? Athletic Greens, in one scoop, you're going to get 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, adaptogens, superfoods that are whole food sourced, probiotics, and just a lot of ingredients, a lot of nutrients to help support your gut health, your brain health, your energy, your digestion, your sleep. And actually, ever since taking it, I've noticed that I'll sleep through the night and not wake up once. Yes, every now and then that may happen, but I used to wake up every single day in the middle of the night at least once, and I don't. I sleep solid through the night. I love that it's super simple, super convenient. It's just one thing that I can do. Takes like 5 minutes or less. Actually, takes less than that. I mean, it takes like 30 seconds to make it, but then it's just so convenient and simple. One simple thing that I can do, one simple habit that I can do to help optimize my nutrition. I haven't traveled lately, but when I do travel, I have the packets. So it's super nice to be able to just have the packets on hand. So I know that when I'm traveling, it is also something that is super simple and convenient that I can do when I'm traveling, because let's be real and honest, I don't really focus as much on my nutrition. I'm not as dialed in. I will enjoy myself a little bit more. I'm, with maybe family or friends and having more drinks and having more yummy foods. So it's just one thing that I can do that I know is going to help me and benefit my health, despite having a bit more fun with the food and drinks while I'm traveling. So I know a lot of people, take some sort of multivitamin, but also it's important to choose one that does have high quality ingredients. And I love that this one does not have any artificial flavorings, no additives, none of that. I also love that with every purchase made, they donate to organizations that help get nutritious food to kids that are in need, and ones like No Kid Hungry here in the US. So I just love having and finding companies that give back as well. So because you are a listener of Flow with the Grow, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5. And this is important because together, they actually help to optimize the proper delivery of calcium, which is, of course, as you may know, one of the most important minerals in the body. It'll support bone health, cardiovascular health, and I won't go into it now, but if you are interested in learning more about those 2 vitamins, you can check the link in the show notes. I have linked a resource there for you to check that out. So along with that free supply of vitamin D and K, you're going to get 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. You can go to athleticgreens.com/flow. And again, that is athleticgreens.com/FLOW to get that bundle. And along with that, you're going to get a little water bottle, Athletic Greens bottle to mix your greens in if you would like. And then also a canister, which actually I very much love because it's kind of the bag is good, but I love having the powder into the canister. It's so much easier to scoop out, and you're going to get a nice big scoop with that. So check that out and let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you try it, how you like it, what has been beneficial for you in taking it. Okay, so a little bit more on this giveaway for the 100 episodes. It is going to start Monday, April 25th and run through May 3rd. I am going to be giving away a free individualized 6-week workout program, my 4 series meditations, which are guided and less than 15 minutes. Some of them are even less than 10 minutes. So between 10 and 15 minutes. I will also be giving away samples of Athletic Greens and LMNT. LMNT is an electrolyte packet, an electrolyte drink mix. It's in a little packet. It's a little powder. It doesn't contain sugar, fillers, and it does have sodium, potassium, magnesium. Sodium is very good for the body. We need it. which might be contradictory to what you have heard in the past, but it is very important and there's a lot of benefits to it. So for your convenience, I've also linked their website in the show notes. So that way you can check them out and learn more about them if you don't know exactly what they are, what the powder, what it is, what it does. They also talk more about the science behind it. So it's backed by science. You can check that out as well. And then lastly, what I'm going to include is one of our beginner guides. So me and actually Kiana has been creating different guides for different things, whether it's beginner's guide for supplements like creatine and protein, macros, just different beginner guides. So I'm going to include one of those as well. We have Keysa Amaro, who I had on the show, and I will also link in the show notes each person's episode. So if you want, you can check that out as well. Keysa is going to be giving away her masterclass. So her masterclass is actually on Tuesday, the 26th. So although the masterclass is happening the 26th, you will get access to the replays for that. And that is called Stop Obsessing About Your Weight Masterclass. You're going to understand how obsessing about your weight is actually hurting your weight loss results. You're going to learn how to stop obsessing about your weight and feel what it's like to be free from that obsession. You're going to learn how to take control of how you want to feel about your body and weight. And you're going to be able to experience the freedom of not obsessing about your weight. We have Joe Rinaldi. He is going to be giving away his new book, one of many authors, and I started reading it and I am in love right from the beginning. It's called Forever Athlete, Connect with Your True Identity Daily, a collection of stories from peak performers. Even if you're not an athlete, maybe you never were an athlete, maybe you were an athlete in high school, but not in college, this book is for everyone. Because as I was reading it, I was like, okay, is this going to be for athletes? Like people who have, I was an athlete. I feel like I am an athlete. I only did it in high school and then I did it for fun, like in college and stuff. And obviously kept the running and working out for myself. But you don't have to be an athlete. I was in my head, I was thinking, okay, is this for the everyday person? Can it be for the everyday person? And yes, it is. Although in the beginning they talk about athletes, this is for the everyday person and you're going to get a lot out of this book. It is so great. And I am just in the beginning. So he's going to give away that book as well as one of his stickers, Do Hard Things. It's a pretty cool sticker. Next, Rachel Prairie. She is going to be giving away, this is super cool, going to be giving away a Functional Aging Summit ticket for free. What? Are you kidding? Wow. She said that and I was like, okay, you sure? That's awesome. So that is actually June 3 to 4 in Denver, Colorado. She's going to be giving that ticket away for free. Jeff Lizowitz, he is going to be giving away his ebook, which I read all of it. It is fantastic. It's called Not Effing Around, the no bullshit guide for getting your creative dreams off the ground. Honestly, it is a easy read. It's a short read. It keeps you captivated. He will also be giving away a 30-minute NFA session. NFA is the Not Effing Around, for free. That is at a $150 value. And you're going to get a lot out of that 30 minutes because I talked with him too for a 30-minute time frame after we did podcasting episodes and meditation together that I'm going to be putting out here on the podcast soon as a guided meditation. But I got a lot out of the 30 minutes, so very valuable. Alexa Oates. She is going to be including a box of fizz packets, which that's like a natural energy drink. There's natural caffeine in it, green tea, so there's no artificial flavorings or sweeteners in that, as well as a couple sheet masks. And then last, but definitely not least, Nicole Malone of Sneaky Fit. She's going to include a downloadable guide, how to get prepared for a whole week in 30 minutes. So a lot of stuff. You're going to get a lot of stuff. There's going to be a few different winners here. And the how to be entered. So 3 things. And you must do all 3 things in order to be entered. Number 1, like the post. Number 2, share the post and tag at Sophia_Dawn41. So you can tag everyone if you would like, but at least tag me so that way I know that you shared that post. On Instagram, you will share it to your stories. On Facebook, you will share it to your page, your profile. And number 3, comment and tag 2 friends. 2 friends who you think would really enjoy the show, 2 friends who you think would love to be entered into this giveaway to win any of these prizes. And there will be a bonus entry for every 2 friends that you comment and tag. Now, I considered having to be 2 entries for you if you do this on Instagram and Facebook, but I realized that a lot of people only have one or the other. So I want to keep it as fair as possible. You can, and it would be much, much appreciated and supported if you did it on both places, both platforms. If you have both, maybe I'll include a little something extra for you. But that would be super appreciative. But I am just going to keep it to, if you do it on Instagram and Facebook, it's just going to be 1 entry. Again, so I can keep it fair for those who only have one or the other. So if you have questions, let me know. And by the time that this comes out, the post will have already been made and posted to my Instagram and to my Facebook. So you can go there and check that out. It'll be multiple images. You'll see everyone's picture and their Instagram handle and their giveaway for what they're including. So you will know. Okay, moving on to awareness. First off, credit where credit is due. I heard this from a Mind Pump episode this morning. And by the way, if you are not listening to them, you absolutely should be, especially if you are wanting to learn more within the health and fitness space, or if you're a trainer or a coach. Very, very valuable stuff in there. So once I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's true. And I need to share it with people. But it's episode number 1797. So they're almost at 2,000 episodes, which is crazy. But I'll link that in the show notes in case you want to check it out. It's called the 5-Step Strategy to Defeat Cravings. For me, it kind of made me think, okay, how did I start to become aware of things? Like my awareness with food, being present, working out, being aware of my all or nothing mentality, my yo-yo dieting, like when did I become aware of this and what was leading up to that and how did I become aware? First of all, for me, it came through learning, reading things, listening to things. Like I remember at first when I started getting into personal development and what that was and learning more about leadership and entrepreneurship, like I started to become aware that there's a different way of living. I don't have to get a 9-to-5 job, get a sit-down job, like the things that we're kind of taught that we need to do. And by the way, if you do have a 9-to-5 and that's your jam, that is perfectly okay. Like I'm not trying to bash on that, but for me, I knew I didn't want that. I didn't want a sit-down job. I always felt like, I don't know, it's like I felt like I was meant for more and I just didn't want to live to the status quo. I was like, why? There's got to be more to life. And by learning things, reading things like that, that was kind of like a doorway, kind of opened my mind. I was learning new things like different thought processes and different ways of thinking. And that also was kind of the doorway and to I guess, awareness. And awareness in this episode, I'm talking about awareness can be with our perspective on life, whether it's a relationship or career or whatever it is. But today, I also kind of really focus on the food aspect. So like cravings, the yo-yo dieting, restriction, things like that. So back to that realization that I did not need to live that 9-to-5. I realized and become aware, it was like in the forefront of my brain, I can live a different life. There's a different way of living. And then I also was thinking, okay, during that time, I also was doing a lot of journaling and writing. And this is going to come full circle here in a moment. So stay with me. So I realized I was writing a lot and journaling. Okay, what was I writing about? Well, things that I was learning. I was writing about my day, what I wanted my days to look like, what I wanted my future to look like, a future business, how I've written about different affirmations about my body and my relationship with food, my relationship with my body, my relationship with working out. I've written about how it feels to be present. So after meditating, I would write about after how it felt after I meditated and after I did visualization. When I went to therapy, there were some writing exercises that I did. I would write about how I was feeling in a certain moment. I would write about before, like when I had the urge to like binge, when I had cravings, I would write about how that felt. And then when it happened, as I was doing it, I wasn't really conscious of like what I wasn't thinking, how does this feel right now while I'm binging? Like, no, I was just going 100 miles an hour. But when I started trying, doing therapy and reflecting on all of that, I would think in my head, okay, how does it feel while I am binging? What emotions are coming up? How does it feel physically? How does it feel mentally? And then I would write about after, how I felt after the fact, mentally, physically, emotionally. I would write about potentially why that was happening. So I had to think about these things, but not only think the things, I had to write the things, and I did. In therapy also, I had writing exercises for feelings and emotions that would come up randomly, like just throughout the day. Not really at any specific time, but like if it was an uncomfortable feeling, I would write about it. What I was feeling, I would try to write how it felt. And that was not easy to do. That was hard. That was difficult. And then fast forward to now, I find myself not having that yo-yo dieting mentality, definitely not the all or nothing mentality. Like I can keep things in the house. I keep cookies and ice cream and not feel like I need to eat it right now and I need to devour it super fast. I don't feel that way anymore. And I'm not saying that writing was like the way that got me out of that mindset, because I think there has been a lot more to it, but that's just kind of a connection, a realization that I had recently, and like kind of connecting the dots as to why this maybe has made an impact or helped me in my present. And going back to devouring things, we were going to my niece's soccer game with my sister Hannah, and we drove by B&G Milky Way. It is a local ice cream place, and I drive by it a lot, and I'm like, I kind of want some just because I know it's like homemade, or just, I don't know if it's homemade, but it's just different than like Dairy Queen or any other ice cream place. It's pretty unique. And I just said, we should get ice cream afterwards. Because in my head, I was kind of wanting it just to kind of taste it again, because I've only had it a couple times. But really, so after we talked about it, and Hannah was like, oh yeah, we could do that. And Hannah was like, Kelly, if you score a goal, we'll get some ice cream if you play, like whatever. It was kind of an incentive, And so Kelly actually, she hustled during that game. She played really good. I don't know if it's because of the ice cream or because she just always does, or because I was there, but for whatever reason. And so regardless, I'm sure we were going to get ice cream anyways, but we went there. And on the way, even after, so when we were driving to the soccer game, after I said that, and then on the way back, I was thinking, I don't really even want ice cream. Like, it doesn't even really sound good, which is fucking wild. And let me tell you why. I remember being in college, even after college, I remember this instance specifically. After working at the wellness center, it was like 9-ish, maybe 9 p.m. And all I wanted was ice cream from, what's it called? Zesto's, a local place in Brookings. And I think there's other Zestos too. But the ice cream is really good. Also different from Dairy Queen. Anyways, it was like I had to have it. I had to. And I remember going there a couple times, and I've never felt this feeling of, I don't really want it anymore. And it was in the midst of me doing this yo-yo dieting, right? Like restricting things and not allowing myself to have ice cream, not allowing different foods, like restricting hardcore. And it would get to a point where it was like, I caved. And I remember getting the ice cream and devouring it so fast. And then that's happened so many times. It's like I felt like I constantly wanted that. And yesterday, and I've thought about this too recently. Like I said, I realized it doesn't really even sound good. which again is crazy because it always sounded good in the past, constantly. And I even said that to Hannah. I was like, doesn't even sound good. I don't really even want it. I don't care to have it. And I realized it's because I changed my relationship with food. I changed my mindset around food, and we got it. And I had a couple bites, and it was good. It was really good, but I didn't feel like I needed to eat it just so fast right then and there. In fact, I had a couple bites, put it down. I would maybe have a couple other bites, enjoy it, eat it, like truly taste it. And I ended up not even having half of it, and I put it in the freezer. Honestly, I probably could have just thrown it away, but I don't know. Maybe I'll want some today. So I put it in the freezer, and that was it. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel gross about it. It was in a healthy way. And that whole thing it just has been crazy to kind of reflect on that for myself. So where was I going with that? I don't even know. I guess all of it to say that my mindset has changed around, my relationship has changed around it. And it kind of all started with awareness. And now this is where I'm going to get into like how this works and where I heard this from Mind Pump. And then it was like a light bulb moment for me. Okay, so let's unpack all of that. When you have a craving, or you think you have a craving, you feel like you have a craving, maybe it's out of boredom, stress, whatever it is, for myself included, and most people would react. And it's almost like automatic. Like, I have this craving, I'm going to eat. If you have it available, like you're going to eat the bag of chips or that ice cream or the cookies. Like you react without thinking about it or without becoming aware. You just do it. And here's a quick example, and an example where it kind of led into or manifested itself years later when I started binging more. So I talked about how I would binge, I would go like 100 miles an hour, I would eat everything in sight. It's like I couldn't stop even if I was really full. And I'm actually just kind of realizing this in the moment, actually, like as I'm recording this. But the example I was going to give is when I was in high school, it was my senior year. It was coronation, I believe. Pretty sure it's coronation. And after that, there was desserts on the table and like drinks and juice and whatever stuff like that. And I had deprived myself. I had used tactics to restrict foods, like even at parent-teacher conferences, there were cookies. And I remember a specific time where I wanted one so bad, but I used a tactic to not eat any of that. So for like months, I would restrict. And the night of that coronation, I remember I wanted those desserts so bad. And afterwards, I went up to those tables and I wanted to do this as fast as possible so that no one would see me. I was in my dress. It was after everything. I was pretty hungry. I remember I just felt hungry and I don't know, physically my body felt small. It was weird. Not that is a good thing. But I went up to the dessert table and I remember there were so many options. It was like I didn't want FOMO, fear of missing out. Like I wanted to have all of them. So I very quickly took one of each thing and I would take a bite and I would eat it really, really fast and then get the next one really, really fast. So just again, going 100 miles an hour, just not even thinking, just devouring all of this. And then my next realization, which is just now happening, is that is what I have been doing and what I was doing for years up until I became aware and really started to work on my relationship with food and all of that. And when you think about it, when you have a craving, it's kind of uncomfortable. So who wants to sit in that feeling? So you react by trying to get rid of that feeling. Okay, but if you have been training yourself, your mind, your body to react instantly right away for years, that's habit. That is your habit, is just your automatic response and reaction. So you have to train a different way. You have to train your body to feel a different way. You have to train your thinking. You have to train your thinking in order to create and generate a different feeling. You have to train a new feeling when you're feeling that uncomfortable feeling. and change the relationship first with the feeling that you do currently have with cravings, which then that allows you to become aware of those impulse reactions that you might have currently. So you no longer become reactive. You notice, become aware, oh, I have that feeling, I have that uncomfy feeling, and then you act. Versus there's that feeling, that uncomfy feeling, react. And again, this might be a subconscious thing. You might not even realize that you are reacting because of that feeling instead of noticing that feeling and then acting. Could be a subconscious thing and something that likely is stemmed from maybe your youth when you were younger, something that happened. So many other things. So now the question, how do you become aware? You become aware by changing your thoughts, changing your thinking. Okay, well, what does that mean? How do you do that? Well, a very powerful way is in writing. Writing is a form of thinking. When you write your thoughts, it then becomes real. You're able to then see what you wrote, and it's an exercise, one that is kind of challenging. I remember when I first started trying to write what I was thinking, maybe not necessarily my thinking, because I actually do very well when I write my thoughts, but my feelings. It was a challenge for me to convey in words the feelings and potentially why I was feeling that way. You can become aware by writing down how you feel right now, or in any moment, any situation, whether it's cravings, which that's kind of what I'm going back to since that's what the episode was about. When you have that craving, writing down what you feel. But you can do this exercise with anything. If you have an uncomfortable feeling, write about it. As humans, we don't like uncomfortable feelings. We don't like sitting in that. So it's kind of a challenge and a discipline to sit in that, to realize what it is that feeling is, where it might be stemming from, why we're doing the things that we're doing. And then whatever this situation is for you, whether it's a craving or something else, write down what you're feeling, what that uncomfortable feeling feels like. And then if you do the thing, so whether you give into that craving or something else, how did it feel during? Write that down. And then how did it feel after? And here's what this does. You're moving these reactions from the reactive part of your brain to the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that helps us to think logically and act in ways that are beneficial and not necessarily reactive. So when you're becoming aware, you're taking this reactive circle and cycle, and you're moving it to the front of your brain, which then allows you to process it. And over time, this process moves that to the reactive part of your brain. So then your reaction changes to understanding and then being able to react differently. And then what you're doing is you're bringing it into consciousness. You are aware, you are conscious of it, rather than it being subconscious and unconscious of some actions or reactions that or thinking patterns that you have. And this takes practice, but you then can become more self-aware. You might even realize that you do things that you didn't even know or realize that you were doing, or maybe a way of thinking or acting or saying. And once you become aware, you can then begin to make choices, maybe different choices that are going to serve you better, serve you more effectively, serve you in a way that's going to be more beneficial. I like to also think of awareness as presence, like being present. I feel like when we are present, we can then, it kind of opens a window, opens a doorway to being more open or more aware. Like thinking back, the times where I've become more aware about things aware of things is, yes, listening to things and reading and learning about things, but also just becoming present, meditating, sitting in silence, just being with myself. Like all of the accumulation of like everything has helped me to become aware of things. But when you're just more mindful of your thoughts and your actions, and kind of asking like, why do you do certain things? Or like, where is this stemming from? Like just kind of getting deep and asking yourself those questions can help you and lead to awareness. So this was a little bit about the science of becoming aware, like what's happening in the brain, and then real life application or real life stories. And I think all of this awareness for me that has led up to where I am today has been through the journaling, through listening to things, through therapy, but also through action and different kind of just creating a different way of thinking, different thinking patterns, but then also different actions and different habits in place. And of course, like all took a lot of time. So just remember that you can't change anything that you're not aware of. And then once you do become aware, then it can take time and practice to rewire. It's like a rewiring of your brain and in thought patterns and actions and habits. So be patient, give yourself some grace, and get some support and feedback if you need as well. So I hope this was a little bit more helpful in the perspective of awareness and learning more so how to become aware, and giving you hopefully a clear picture of awareness. And again, I'll link that the episode in the show notes for where I heard it from. And if you want to chat more about it, or you want some support or feedback or anything at all, feel free to please reach out to me on Instagram at Sophia_Dawn41, and I'd love to chat about it. That's that. I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, week, weekend. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Flow with the Grow. I'll see you next week for your daily dose of positivity and growth.